Hello everyone, I am Dr. Garima Shrivastava from Lal Bahadur Shastri College, Lucknow. I am going to take up effective listening as the topic today. Now for that purpose we need to understand what is listening. Now when we talk about the other end of communication process, that is the speaker, that is the listener side, that is the receiver side, we talk about effective listening. We have already talked about what kind of qualities a speaker should have, what all points he should keep in mind while delivering his speech. When talking about oral communication, what are the things that he has to keep in mind before delivering his information. Now for that purpose it is also essential to that the listener is also an effective listener, and that the receiver is a effective listener. So for listener to be very effective, it is necessary that whenever he listens to the person, whenever he listens to the sender, he is empathetic, he is trying to understand what the speaker is trying to say, plus he is not putting in any kind of judgmental implications, judgmental solutions or his own ideas to whatever has been said by the speaker. He has to be empathetic, that means he has to keep his own experiences and education aside and then listen to the speaker according to his own feelings. So, and in that purpose only he will be able to understand what the speaker is trying to say. Effective listening is actively absorbing the information given to you by the speaker, showing that you are listening and interested in providing the feedback to the speaker, so that he or she knows the message was received. Now listening also takes into consideration the feedback that is being given by the receiver. The feedback from the receiver is also very important part. Why? Because it ensures the speaker that the listener, that the receiver is actively listening to whatever is being said and actually trying to understand what he has been listening from the speaker. It will also ensure the speaker that how much understanding level has been there in the listeners. Now when we talk about listening, it is of 4 types. There are 4 types of listening that are essential to know when we decide what your goals as a listener is. Now the first one is appreciative listening. When you listen for appreciation, you are listening for enjoyment. Think about the music you listen. You actually listen to the music because you enjoy it. The same kind can be said for appreciative listening when someone is speaking. So why do we need to understand types of listening? We need to understand this because the type of listening will actually decide what kind of delivery of information is to be done by the sender. So when we talk about appreciative listening, it means something of enjoyment, something of something that makes the receiver happy. So whenever receiver has an objective to get enjoyed, to get something get happy, he will listen to the thing as an appreciative listening, same as we feel when we listen to the music. So appreciative listening is that whenever the receiver listens to the speaker in a kind that he feels very happy by listening to the speaker. Then comes the empathetic listening. When you listen empathetically, you are doing so to show mutual concern. Now empathetic listening means you are trying to understand what the speaker is feeling, what the speaker is trying to say through his words, through his information, and of course you are not being judgmental about whatever is being said. So empathy does not leads to being judgmental about whatever is being said by the speaker. So empathetic listening leads to understanding of the feelings and the words exactly said by the person who is speaking it. During this type of listening, you are trying to identify with the speaker by understanding the situation in which he or she is discussing this particular topic. So thereby you are trying to understand the feelings whatever the speaker has for this particular topic. Then comes the comprehensive listening. If you are watching the news, listen to a lecture, getting the directions from someone, you are listening to understand, listening to comprehend the message that is being sent. Now comprehensive listening often leads to learning, remembering or getting directions. So when we listen to certain kind of information such as instructions, orders given in the organization, all these include a comprehensive kind of listening. So whenever we are suppose for example, a person is is working on a project where he is a team lead. So, as a team lead he has to deliver certain kind of information. So, their comprehensive listening will take part, where the people who are into his team, the people who are receiver at the other end will comprehensively listen to the speaker. They will listen to the person, they will jot down the different points, they will filter the points, and they will filter the points according to the work that has to be done in the organization. Then comes the critical listening. Critical listening is to evaluate the content of the message. As a critical listener, you are listening to all parts of the message, analyzing it, evaluating what you have heard. Now, that means you are actually trying to evaluate what the speaker has said. This comes under critical listening. When engaging in critical listening, you are also critically thinking. So, of course, critical listening leads to critical thinking, which comes from critical learning. So, whenever we are talking about different situations in the organization, that comes from the creative thinking only. You are making mental judgments based on what you see, hear or read. Now, of course, apart from appreciative, empathetic and comprehensive listening, critical listening is the part where we use our judgment. We as a receiver use our judgment. So, of course, we try to hear things, we try to analyze them, we try to interpret the information we get, and then we make judgments accordingly, that what we see, what we hear or what we have already read about that particular topic. So, when we say active listening means ask open ended questions. Now, of course, effective listening will always lead to active listening skills. These are the skills that have to be acquired by the receiver, because if the receiver is not an active listener, he will not be able to understand the various topics that have been covered, various points, important points that have been covered by the speaker. So, as an active listener, he should ask open ended questions. That means he should be free to ask any kind of questions, queries at the end of this particular conversation. Then he can also request for clarification. So, when you are actively listening to the speaker, the queries, questions that come into mind may be jotted down at that moment, and at the end of that oral communication, you can ask for those questions from the speaker. Similarly, the clarifications for those questions can also be requested from the speaker. So, at the end there should always be a point, there should always be a time kept by the speaker wherein he can solve these questions, wherein he can give these clarifications to his team members or to his receivers. Now, an active listener has to be attentive. That means he has to listen to the speaker very carefully. If he misses out on any points, he can ask them again, or he should be very active. He cannot be passive, so that when he listens to the speaker in a passive manner, he leaves certain important points that are to be covered by the sender. So, it is very important when we talk in terms of organizational functionings, active listening is very important part. Then the next one is summarizing. Active listener always summarizes the points that he has heard from the speaker. So, whenever you are listening to someone, you are at the receiver end, then you should always be ready with a pen and paper, or with some kind of memos with you, wherein you can note down, you can summarize all the points that have been told by the speaker, so that you are not missing out on any of the points. You are jotting down all the important points that have been delivered by the speaker, and of course, maybe implementation is also that much important. Then comes the paraphrasing. Of course, as an effective listener, you have to paraphrase what has been said by the speaker. So, you can take up the content as said by the speaker himself, but sometimes when you think that difficult words, difficult terms have been used by the speaker, you can paraphrase that sentence, that word, that para given by the speaker in your own words without losing its actual meaning. So, you can paraphrase the sentences or content given by the speaker. Then reflects feeling. Of course, reflection will also go hand in hand when we talk about paraphrasing or we talk about empathizing. So, we need to reflect feelings towards the speaker, that what speaker is trying to say. We as a speaker should, as a listener should try to understand whatever feelings are being said, and with those feelings what kind of information has been given. Be attuned to feelings. Now, they should give more attention to the feelings of both the sides. That means, the speaker should be very much attentive, very much considerate about the feelings of the receiver, as well as the receiver should also be considerate about the feelings of the speaker. Then only both of them will be able to deliver their information. So, if receiver is empathetic, if he is trying to understand the feelings of the speaker, he will be able to understand the information given by the speaker in a very easy manner. Similarly, if on the other hand, on the contrasting hand, we talk about the speaker, if he understands the feelings of the listener, that means he understands the position of the listener, the educational, positional, experiential position of the listener, he will try to reflect the information in a more proper manner as compared to the older methods. Then we come ask probing questions. When active listeners are there, you can ask other questions also that come to your mind as a listener. So, whatever questions are there, that they should be taken up in front of the sender, and sender should be in a position that he has covered almost all the points that are related to that particular topic, and all the questions, if they arise, they are being answered by the sender himself. Now, there are certain steps in listening. When someone listens, it happens in a step by step manner. So, these steps can be taken as receiving, understanding, remembering, evaluating and feedback. So, these steps of listening start after the process of communication. We have already discussed the process of communication, which starts from the sender end, wherein sender encodes a message, and this through a certain medium, he transfers this encoded message to the your receiver. The receiver, when receives this message, he starts decoding this message given by the sender. Now, how does this process of decoding occurs? All this is converted, all this is being taken up under the steps of listening. Now, we can say the decoding message can be done in the same in the following steps. First of all, once the message is received, that is the receiving end. It is the intentional focus on hearing the speaker's message, which happens when we filter out other sources, so that we can isolate the message and avoid the confusing mixture of incoming stimuli. So, receiving means when receiver is at the receiving end of the information and he tries to filter whatever information has been given. Now, we have used the word filter, that means everything cannot be assimilated as a receiver. Of course, when empathetically also he will listen, he will try to filter certain things which he thinks as important points given by the sender. So, in receiving, it can be called as intentional focus on hearing a speaker's message. That means, you are intentionally listening to the speaker and trying to understand, trying to filter out what actually speaker is trying to say. So, whenever we will be able to understand, whenever we will be able to interpret what has been said by the speaker, that will come under intentional focus of receiving. So, it always avoids confusion and mixture of incoming stimuli. So, receiving of the information should not be overburdened, it should not be over information that has to be sent by the speaker. So, one at a time you should release your information, so that it is assimilated very easily and the person is able to understand, because a mixture of or a large amount of information can act as a bombardment and can create confusion. Then comes the understanding portion. Now, once you have received the information, the starts with the understanding of this information. That means, you now start interpreting this information. In this stage, we attempt to learn the meaning of the message, which is not always easy. For one thing, if a speaker does not enunciate clearly, it may be difficult to tell what the message was. Now, so once the received message is with the receiver, he will start to learn the message, he will start to interpret the actual meaning of the message. Now, meaning of the message can be interpreted in two ways. One is empathetically and the other is through your own thought process. Now, empathetically basically means you are trying to understand the feelings of the speaker, and you are not trying to add on your own judgment with the information. Similarly, the other part will go when comes the understanding. The understanding will always be there with the help of your own education, your own experience. So, with a mixture of both, you will try, you as a speaker will try, you as a receiver will try to understand what has been said by the speaker. Then comes the part remembering. It begins with listening. If you can't remember something that was said, you might have not listened it carefully or effectively. So, once we have understood what has been said, now it is important for the receiver that the understood thing has been remembered. That means whatever things I have understood from my childhood, those things, those points, those values will always be remembered by me throughout my life. So, it is also important to know that you can improve your memory of message by processing it meaningfully, that is by applying it in ways that are meaningful to you. It was said by Glueck et al. In 2008. Now, of course, when we try to relate it with something which is very important in our life, or when we try to implement it in the same way as given in our life, we will be able to remember it in a more proper manner. For example, suppose in a chemistry lecture, a person is being told that if you mix some kind of impurity in water, its boiling point will decrease. Now, once you go at home and your mother tells, when you mix salt in water, its boiling point comes down. That means you have implemented your chemistry lecture into something practical. Now, for the whole life, you will be able to understand, you will be able to learn, remember this process of chemistry. Then comes the evaluating. The fourth stage in the listening process is evaluation or judgment, or judging the value of the message. Now, of course, evaluation of a message is also important. Not always you need to see the message as evaluation, but sometimes evaluation of the message is also important. We might be thinking this makes sense, or conversely this is very odd. Now, we need to know what kind of sense this particular information piece makes for me. If it is a sensible piece, I will try to remember it, I will implement it in my organizational life. But if it does not matter to me a lot, those things will not be taken up by me in the organization. Then comes the last stage, that is responding, also known as feedback. It is the fifth and the final stage of listening process. It is the stage at which you indicate your involvement. Almost anything you do at this stage can be interpreted as feedback. Now, feedback, if we talk about feedback, it can be of two types: formative feedback and summative feedback. Now, if we talk about formative feedback, as the word suggests, formative, that means forming. It is a natural part of ongoing transaction between speaker and listener. That means, as the speaker says, a form of a feedback starts forming in the minds of listener for the speaker. As the speaker delivers the message, the listener signals his or her involvement with the focus attention, note taking, nodding or other behaviors that indicate understanding or failure to understand the message. So, the nodding of our head, note taking, making notes along with whatever speaker is saying, it gives a formative kind of feedback as and when the speaker is delivering the lecture. Summative feedback is given at the end of communication. So, of course, the word summative also says the sum of all. The sum of all can only be given when you listen to the whole delivery. So, once the listener has listened to the whole delivery, then only he will be able to give the summative feedback. That means, whether the lecture was helpful, whether he will be able to implement that information in his organizational life, whether he will be able to make some use of that particular lecture. So, this kind of summative feedback will always be given in the end of the communication. When you attend a political rally, a presentation given by speaker, you admire, or even a class. There may be verbal and non-verbal ways of indicating your appreciation for or your disagreement with the message or speaker at the end of the message. So, at the end of the message you may agree or disagree with the speaker, and you can give your feedback, you can give your suggestions or your way of listening, indicating your appreciation towards the speaker in your own words. But we should be clear, we should be very careful as a listener that this feedback should not be very in a rude manner, or it should not be in a some kind which hurts or insults the speaker. The most skilled communicators match their responses to the situation. Coaching is providing advice and information or setting standards to help employees to improve their skills and performance. Now, when we talk about communications, when we talk about effective listening, coaching and counseling are taken up by the organizations to disperse the information in the organization. Now, coaching and counseling are two separate parts and two processes that can be taken up to disperse the information in the organization. Now, coaching can, if some kind of advice or in some kind of information is being is to be given to the people about the set standards to improve their skills or to give them certain kind of training, then we take up coaching. Counseling is helping the subordinate recognizing and addressing the problem. Counseling is actually, counseling cannot be taken up as a training. Counseling is just giving a feed forward to the employees, where the employee has to be told or subordinate has to be told that this is the actual problem area and how you can how you motivate the employee to improve this problem area. The most common mismatch of response types to situations is tendency of a lot of us to have, myself included, to give advice or deflect a situation where counseling is appropriate. So, whenever I talk about myself only, then there is a kind of mismatch of the response and the person is not able to understand the things properly. So, it is very important while coaching or while counseling, the person needs to understand everything, leaving himself, leaving his own feelings behind and not being judgmental enough. When you are counseling, reflecting and probing are usually more appropriate responses than advising and deflecting. Now, we talk about reflecting and probing, advising and deflecting. Now, what is reflecting? Reflecting is paraphrasing back to the speaker what they said. One of the things a lot of us find when we try to use this technique, that it is a real challenge. We do not want to just parrot back what was said, we want to paraphrase it. So, when we talk about paraphrasing, when we talk about reflecting, we would want to say something of our own type. We won't want just to parrot back whatever has been heard. So, when paraphrasing, reflecting is important. That means you are not losing the actual content, you are not losing the actual meaning of the sentence and still able to deliver that sentence with greater meaning. It takes creativity to think in appropriate ways to paraphrase what we have heard. Then probing. Probing means asking for additional information. When one person comes across certain kind of information which he thinks is not enough or some other information is required to make that particular information complete, he makes probing. He tries to ask for certain additional information which puts up question in his mind about future. Avoid questions that challenge what have been said, because that will put the speaker in a defensive mode. For example, how could you have thought that? This is a probing question and it may insult the speaker. So, the speaker should also be considerate enough. He should see that all those questions that have been that would come up as probing, all those questions related to extra information should be prepared with the speaker beforehand. Now, effective probing is non-judgmental and flows from what was previously said. Now, probing is not actually judgmental, it should be non-judgmental. Why? Because you are not going to judge the other person, you are just trying to extract some extra information that is being required to complete that given information. So, good probing questions ask for elaboration, clarification and repetition. Now comes the deflection. Deflection responses shifts the discussion to the another topic. That means you are trying to disturb, you are trying to confuse the speaker so that he is deflected to some other topic. When we deflect from from what we have been told, rather than acknowledging it, we can unintentionally communicate that we haven't listened and we weren't listening or interested. Deflecting shows that we are preoccupied with another topic. That means a listener, if he tries to deflect from the original topic, that means he has not been listening very properly throughout the lecture. Now, advising, it puts value on self-reliance, solving puzzles and problems. It is for the self-satisfaction, for finding the solution for the audience with the speaker's problem solving ability. Last of all, there should be some traits of a good listener. So, of course, a good listener for effective listening should have the following qualities. First of all, look interested and get interested. That means whatever is being told, you should be interested towards listening whatever is being told. You should also look interested. It should not be that your facial expression shows something else. That means whatever you are thinking should be supported by your facial gestures. Then involve yourself by responding. You should always be an active listener. How can you be an active listener? You can be active by involving yourself throughout the delivery of the information. Now, once you are involving, that means you are trying to ask questions, you are probing, you are asking extra information, you are trying to clarify your problems, you are trying to clarify your queries, you are involving yourself by responding. Then stay on target. That means you are not trying to deflect from the specific topic, original topic that was being taken up by the sender. So, you as a listener need to stay on the target. That means whatever extra information, whatever interest you are showing, that interest should be in the same topic as was being delivered by the sender. Then test your understanding. Once you get your information, you are understanding, you are remembering, you are trying to evaluate, then you should test your understanding. Now, you should see that what has been delivered to you, were you aware of it already, or if you were not, then you should be aware of it, and now you have to implement this new idea, this new information into your organizational life. Then evaluate the message. Of course, evaluation is the important part where we talk about traits of a good listener. Why? Because evaluation will only tell you whether this information is important, whether it will be fruitful, it will be helpful for you in the future or not. Then lastly, neutralize your feeling. That means your own feeling should be neutralized. You should be able to understand the feelings of the other person, the speaker. Then only you will be able to understand the thing, the actual content, the actual information that has been sent by the sender. So, of course, at last I would like to say, for being an effective listener, for listening to a person very effectively, it is very important that you be attentive, you do not deviate away from the specific topic, you keep on jotting your questions and ask your questions without interrupting the sender at the end of the topic. Thank you.